How would you continue here? We did this last fight. Exactly. Yeah. Did I trick you? I don't think you think you tricked me. No, this is exactly the right variation. Aha, go for it. 206. Tell us you have the move. Aha, we're waiting. 94. We talked about this. The same idea exists in the Sicilian Alapin. We were saying that white hurries to open up the e file for their attack. If black takes, we take back. And in this case, as we can see, the king is in big trouble. We cannot play bishop e7 because simply we run into here the move knight f5. Exactly. That's important to understand. In the game, they played in a different way. I think they took like that. And then white took quickly and they played rook e1. And as you can see, it was the same story. If bishop e7 this time, we can first trade off the queens and then we play knight f5. Let me know if I missed something, but that's how I understood this. So if d takes e4, extremely important to understand. Sorry, if e takes e5, extremely important to understand that this was white's idea, to clear the e file as soon as possible. Somebody had another idea, something with rook e1 you were saying here, rook e1 at this point. Yeah, I mean, could I castle long? Maybe. I'm not sure. Hard to see that in 10 seconds. Yeah, because you were not here, Sarthak. This was mainly for those who attended last week, right? If you didn't attend, yeah, I'm very sorry if you couldn't make it. But this is maybe a better chance for black. If CD, I will definitely take with the knight, and I'll try to trade off the queens. And it's not so nice for my king anyway, but hopefully it's better than the game. So maybe, yeah, maybe that would be the conclusion here. But safe to say, it's smarter to play as the grandmaster Kornev played in the game, knight e4. And the other question was, what happens if they take like that? Sorry, this is what we analyzed for quite a long time. Last time, I think it was Sui Random who challenged me there in a very interesting piece of analysis. I'll give you just 20 seconds. Satak, you can rest if you like. If it's too difficult, you can rest. The rest of you can try to find a way in which we are able to. Aha, like happy pawn and skilled saber. That's right. I played the move last time, says happy pawn. Aha. Yeah, it's only 20-second quiz, Young, because this is just a recap of what we looked at last time. Many people got it, no? Brian, Sui, Sozin, Xalicia, Heuristic Mind, Happy Pawn, and so on. All right, Xalicia, you can tell us what should white play at this point. Now it's a different story. Now, of course, now we take. This time we're interested in clearing that diagonal, right, for our pieces. 94 is less logical. Try to apply some logic, guys, even in 20 seconds. Last time we were very happy to try to trade off to open up the e file. But this time they didn't take with the e pawn, they took with the c pawn, which means that, okay, we have a new user here, Jennifer Gao. All right, Jennifer, very welcome. If they take with the c pawn instead, that means that the e file remains closed. On the other hand, the a4, e8 diagonal is open, and that's why Xalicia played here, I think, c takes d5, right? At this point, c takes d5. All right, I took back with the knight. I'm begging Scalicia to trade off the queens, but no thanks. We don't want to trade off the queens, of course. We're praying for an attack. And that's what we looked at last time. We saw that there were some ideas like this, like that. I think Sui Random defended with a6, and it was very complex. But safe to say we can agree that black's king is under a cloud here. Why did this happen? Well, because white sacrificed the pawn in order to create activity. It's just a pawn, you could say, and you get a lot of activity. So in this last installment, welcome everybody again. Last installment about small price. We will have a look at some situations where we give up a pawn, but we're technically not making a pawn move for that purpose. We are somehow dropping off a pawn in some other way, right? But not necessarily by pushing a pawn. That's what we looked at in all the other examples, I think, from the previous two installments. So today we won't really move our pawns. I mean, we will move them at some point, of course, but it's not really connected to pawn play, you could say. It's more about like, what can I say? Yeah, giving up a pawn in exchange for the initiative or something like that. Let's take something from earlier this year. Let's take the Tata Steel. Yeah, the small prize. I think it's prize with C, right? The prize, it's something else, probably. The prize is what you get later as a reward, right? But now we're talking about the prize, the pawn in this case. I'll take something from the Tata Steel tournament. Maybe you saw this game, some of you. You can see that this is symmetrical. Sorry, it's not symmetrical. It's a Benoni with reversed colors. White is playing some kind of interesting Benoni version, but with a knight on d3. Very, very hyper-modern, you could say, with f4. Interesting. Nimzowitsch would be happy about this, but it has some dark sides to it also. You can see that white's development is not ideal. Black, on the other hand, has just made like normal moves. So at this point, what white played here, Beokema in this game against Darda, Beokema played Queen A3. So yeah, he had interesting openings in this year's Tata Steel. So all right, I'll ask you for some moves here. Let's see, you get 1 minute. Try to find the best way for black to continue here. Yeah, quiz is coming now. So how should black react to Queen A3? What's your opinion? And what does this have to do with our topic, a small price, one might ask yourself? Well, you could ask Darda because he knew perfectly what this was about. Okay, you're very close, Sui, Ryan, Brian, 206, and Mr. Chicken Do. That's perfectly fine. Consider yourself half winners if you play like that. Although, if I take on B4, how are you taking back then, Sui and company? Okay, we will talk about that. Yeah, Santos, I'm afraid you're on the wrong track. Dada, Skilled, and Gordon. We should not trade queens in this kind of structure. We talked about this many times. Whenever you're about to trade queens, that is one thing you have to check, right? Should I write that here in the chat? Whenever we are about to trade queens, there is at least one specific factor that we have to take into account, all right? That's what I'm trying to write here with my slow fingers. Exactly, heuristic mind, bravo. King safety, that's right. So who got closest here? Nobody got it completely, but I can see that 206 is already understanding this. And also Sozin. Yeah, we can ask Sozin, Marcus, Khaleesi, Jamal, Moon Juggler. You are the ones who were closest on this occasion, I think. So please go ahead, Sozin, and tell us. Daniel was also very close, but you're trading the queens, Daniel. We don't want to do that. So Queen A3 was played. Sozin Queen is saying, where is Sozin Queen, by the way? Here. Should I keep the queens or should I trade? Keep. Why is that? Well, because White King is inevitably weaker here. If you remember Dorfman's great book, The Method, he would always talk about that. He would say that, for instance, White King is irreparably weak or something like that. It cannot be repaired, or yeah, if you see what I mean. So night before, we keep the queens on. It costs a pawn. Which pawn? We're talking about this pawn, of course. But it's worth it, says Darda. Actually, in the game, Darda played Rook D8, and he got a great game also. Although I think it was a draw in the end. He played Rook D8 in the game. But what Sozin Queen is playing is even stronger because it prepares a very clever trade. If you look at this position, you would say, which piece would I like to trade with black? And I think most pieces, we don't want to trade them. We don't want to trade any piece here. I like your move also, Sozin. I understand you want to play knight c2 and win the exchange here. So I think it's okay also, your move. My knight is under an attack. I would have to play something like knight 8. I looked a little at this, let me tell you, Sozin Queen. One of my impressions here was that white should not play passively. I should not go back with the queen. I should try to be annoying with my queen instead. And as you can see by now, I'm really wanting to trade off the queens. We have some kind of typical battle between two different factors. I have a bad king and I have bad development, but I have an extra pawn. So this is the move that Sozin played, and I badly need to open up the game now. I have to play something like a3. White has the worst king position. All right, so if you play like that, my intuitive brain here says to play knight c3, but I think it's not correct. Yeah, intuition can sometimes be completely wrong, because then who's playing here? I have to check. Sozin Queen. Yeah, Sozin will totally take on a3. So I think I'll take back instead. Queen takes e3. My next move is knight c3. Are you sure you're on the right track here? Queen d8. Yeah, knight c3, and if queen b6, c5. No queen, no smother mate and things like that, right? I'm on my guard here. I know the evil plans of Sozin Queen. White made progress. What's better than rook e8? Yeah, good question. Still, it was interesting. But all of those of you who are saying that you will trade queens, you're on the wrong track. You're on the wrong track. Don't trade queens. Even from the very beginning, those of you who said queen takes a3, I'm sorry, wrong strategic comprehension. This is exactly what white wants. Now white can go for knight b5, a3, b4, c5. Those of you who played the Benoni with black, you know what I'm talking about. We have the queenside pawn majority. This is white's dream scenario to get to this. Don't trade queens. It's definitely worth the small price of a pawn to keep the queens. All right, let's continue. Saucing queen, rook b8, and if you answer the question, which white piece would I like to trade here from all these pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one would I like to trade? I think the answer there is only one. Yeah, careful with the knight on d3. This knight can sometimes hang. Yeah, don't play bishop c6 because we're going against the logic that we just talked about. We don't want to trade queens. If we trade queens, white gets their dream scenario again. My weak king can even be a benefit for me, right? I can bring in my king faster than you can because your king is safer, like paradoxes of the strategical battle. So back again. Sorry, you were on the right track. Who is playing here now again? Zozin, yeah. So Razor Bill and Happy Pawn have noticed here the right plan. Of course, bishop c8. We later on go bishop e7. I haven't analyzed this to a very big depth, you could say, but I think black is in danger. White's in danger here. Like, you would have to fix this situation with these threats. You would have to take maybe. Now you don't have my favorite move, queen a7. You could maybe stay over here. Yeah, what would we play here? Anyone? Bishop e7, of course, and. I think we can stop looking here. Probably a computer could put up a fight here with white, but for most humans it will be difficult. Let's just make one short variation here for Sozin Queen to convince all of us. Please go ahead, Sozin. Yeah, exactly. This is child's play. Of course, we bring in the pieces and we attack as soon as we can. Oh, you want to play like that? Really? I was not expecting that. You're helping my queen to get closer to safety. Don't do that, Sozin. You're giving away tempo, I think. No? Sarfak says knight c4, Cesar says queen b7. Yeah, I think both moves are fine. But I think everybody understands what's going on here, right? Black has this dangerous team of queen and knight. They will now get closer to white's king. And yeah. Again, maybe a computer can save this, but for the human eye, this looks just horrible. Don't forget about Harry the h-pawn, which can soon join the battle also. So, interesting example. What we're saying here is that after queen a3, white wants to trade queens. That would change the strategic balance a lot, as Dorfman used to say. For that reason, we should not trade. We should play knight b4. Plug in the knight. I know it costs a pawn, but that's the price. It's worth this little price in order to get our initiative going. The bishop goes somewhere. I don't know if it makes a big difference. Maybe it can go here also, but still, I think this would be the best choice here. H, the happy pawn, says happy pawn. All right. Great work. Let's continue. I'll show you another simple example, okay? I think this one was pretty simple. I'll show you another rather simple example. If you play the Caro-Kann, this might be interesting for you. This is what we have here, the game Laguna with white and Jordan Van Forest with the black pieces. So at this point, those of you who are good with opening theory, you can easily see in which variation in the Caro-Kann you end up like that with the space advantage, but you don't have a light square bishop, and white has the bishop pair. The two knights, says Mr. Jamal. You're right, Sozin Queen, the two knights Caro. Exactly, that's what happened here. Van Forest played it in a really aggressive fashion, taking space just to the computer's taste. You don't have the light square bishop. Well, that's modern chess, right? It paid off in this game. Lagunov played at this point bishop g5. I would like to know how you think that black should continue here. All right, you get 1 minute for that mission. So black to play and give up a pawn, you would say. Black to play and invest a pawn to get a good position. Mr. Jamal, you got it. So random, you got it. Aha. Dada Apple. But don't give up a pawn just like that now. Please think carefully. What's the benefit of giving up the pawn, right? Sozin Queen, you got it, Brian. Razorbill, Sarthak, Moon Juggler. That's the right choice. And other people had other ideas. Knight g4, can you really play that? That doesn't pass my filter. Bishop takes e7, knight takes h2. That's a self-goal. I'm sorry, those of you who said knight g4. That's for the tactic class or for the unexpected moves class. Yeah, you can't play that, I'm sorry. Knight h5, you get half a point, Sheng, Marcus, and 206. But you allow me to trade off my bad bishop, right? The light square bishop. So I wouldn't do that. But anyway, you were definitely on the right track. Okay. Xalicia, RKDK, Titan, Vish, Mr. Chicky. Yeah, you all got it. All right, let's ask somebody here. Moon Juggler, you haven't been around many times, so this is your opportunity. Go for it, Moon Juggler. How would you continue with the black pieces here? What about to do with this annoying bishop? You can play out the moves, I think, Moon Juggler. Oh, it switched. Sorry. 1 moment, please. Technical difficulties here. I think now you can play out the moves, right? Exactly. Bishop h6, very clever move. Supposedly, when white played bishop g5 here, they were actually trying to stop this move. That's what I think. That's why they played bishop g5. They knew that black was about to trade off white's bishop pair, and a good bishop, you could say, from these two bishops. However, Van Forest, he played it anyway. So what he had noticed, of course, was that after bishop takes, he doesn't win anything with his next move here. However, he creates a very favorable kind of positions, like some kind of investing a pawn for the sake of the initiative. Yeah, we don't want to take, of course, they will take back with the queen, I think. Your next move here, the queen is sad. Yeah, exactly. The queen is sad. G5. So that's what he played. Very, very pretty. Those of you who play the Benko Gambit, you know the situation, of course, if they take like that. Sorry, I mean, you have a choice here, but I would imagine you take like that. You castle long and you bring the rook. You can also see that this structure is like not, it's like in some lines of the Samish King's Indian, it's not easy to get an attack like that. This is really well protected. Like you play something like c3 and maybe I just castle. Anyway, if you see what I mean, I play king b8 next turn. Those of you who play the Samish with the reversed colors, you know this kind of situation. Black's extremely solid here, and these pieces are like not. We can play knight c4, or I can play something like king b8, and that's about it. It's not easy to see white's next step here. The move a4, perhaps a3 would have been better, but yeah, black's crushing here. So nice, but nobody playing h4. Nobody playing h4. Well, I don't understand the context, Mr. Jamal. Nobody playing h4. What did he mean by that? I mean after g5. Oh, I see. After g5. Okay, good point. Interesting move. This is what I call revolution. If you play h4 here, you're trying to make a revolution. But I guess the problem is that I'll take with the rook, right? So it ends in enormous tactical difficulties, I think, if you wanted to do that. So yeah, this looks very nice for black. Definitely. So that's what he played. I mean, I can, if you don't believe me, if you think this is some kind of fairy tale, I can tell you what happened in the game. They played knight c4. Sorry, if we take this very, very slowly. Bishop d5, bishop h6. He took the pawn. We will come back to this very briefly. Bishop f4, bishop g3, and g5. That's the course of the game. Lagunov played here knight c4, and Van Forest simply castled. We saw this king f1, yeah, trying to get away from the h-file, I guess. The queen is really a sad piece, as somebody said here. King b8, yeah, black is simply taking some prophylactic measure. Also, we are like vacating the c8 square for the rook. King a1, a6. And he actually, yeah, look what he did here, Van Forest. He put his king on a7. Sorry, so that it would be a little safer. It has now left his diagonals. And then he was ready to play on the queen side, I think. King side, sorry. Bishop takes, pawn takes. He took like that in the end to put the knight on e5. Yeah, we can probably stop here. You can check the game if you like later, but it's a really nightmare for white. They have all their 8 pawns, but they have no activity and they have no real good pawn breaks. Only problems if they try to break with their pawns. So the queen is trapped in her own army, says Heuristic Mind. Yeah, I agree on that. Jordan won. Yeah, he for sure won this game. Anyway, we should always be objective, no? Don't get carried away because the stronger player won and things like that. Always try to keep some kind of objective attitude, no, or a perspective, which is objective. You look from both sides and so on. So what do you think, everyone, at this point? What should white have played here? Should they really take the pawn? Or should I... Aha, you're right, the razor wheel. All right, we will connect the razor now. This is about what we will talk about next time, by the way. We will talk about fighting back. When you have some kind of strategical difficulty, like in this case, you could say white's having a slightly cramped game and so on. How can we improve our game? That's what we will talk about in the coming sessions. You can see what razor is doing here. We have to somehow break free. They are one move away, razor, from playing g5. And oh, you want to play like that? Maybe. Yeah, I haven't looked at this move. It looks interesting. Half a point definitely if you play like that. I would maybe consider to take and play queen g5. Can I do that? I can't really judge this razor. Maybe someone else has a better picture of what's going on here. Queen h3. I hoped I could castle and... Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is better than the game. Doesn't look too bad for white. Yeah, I agree. Doesn't look too bad for black either, but okay, we can say that it's interesting. I was thinking I could actually bring the knight to e6 later. I'm hoping I can one day replace my queen with the knight. That's my little dream here. But anyway, I thought of something else, Razor. Those of you who are King's Indian players, of course, you would play f4 here. I'm pretty sure this is the right approach. We have a sad bishop on e2. By the way, those of you who said in the main line, those of you who wanted to play here, I forgot to say that. If you played knight h5 here instead of g5 as Van Forest played, I will not think twice about trading. Now, I'm extremely happy if you can let me trade off my sad bishop. That bishop stayed to the very end, by the way, in the game. So what we're talking about here is what Razor is saying. We play f4, pawn takes, queen takes. Of course, if you put on your King's Indian glasses, you would say that black can play knight e5 and they have a blockade. But we can fight back against this blockade, right? I play Nimso, says Razor. But even in some Nimso lines, you might play f5 with the black pieces. So even then, this can be interesting. I'm hanging the rook, Tori Chess says. You're right, Tori. Sorry about that. I got carried away by strategy here. So, all right. Sorry, I must do something with the rook. Yeah, time to drink coffee if I drop rooks like that. And the next move, black should not take. You're probably right, Titan Chess. Anyone, can you help me with the last move here, just to continue? One more move with white, please. Anyone? Knight c4, definitely, before black lands a knight on e5. And you can say it's a different landscape now. It's a different story. We have knight e6 coming up, maybe e5. That's definitely game changer, 100% game changer. If they castle and you can make e5 work, for instance, that's changes the picture completely. Our bishop, he might become the hero of this game and so on. So I think you're right. Who said this? Titan says. Titan said that white should not take back. Who should not take back? After f4, we should not take back. So Titan, you're probably saying that we should castle instead or something like that. And then I guess we can play knight c4. And maybe this is a better version, Titan. But sooner or later, you have to do something about the tension, right? You talked about the tension. Let's see what RKDK says. After f4, can black play knight d7, might transpose. Yeah, knight d7, I think everybody knows which move I would like to play here, right? When you play this, it's like I'm looking at the drawbacks of your previous move and I try to take advantage. Of course, a Titan, we play bishop d4. Exactly. That's simple logic now. If they make a move like that, try to find out what might be wrong about this move. Don't take blindly on e5. That's what they want, to put the giant knight on e5, like in Petrosian style in his games in the King's Indian. Of course, we will play bishop g4 and we might take later. But for now, we will build up the pressure. So, and maybe it's harder to hold e5 than I thought. Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. And also, the black rook starts to look a little silly once we are able to bring our pieces to the f-file and so on. So what I'm trying to say here is basically there are like two sides of this story. White played bishop g5, and Van Forest correctly noticed that in order to liberate his game here, he should play bishop h6. He's ready to give up a pawn here after bishop takes, bishop f4, bishop g3, g5. He does not get back the pawn. It's not some kind of temporary sacrifice. The pawn is lost. But strategically, a lot is gained because we keep white in a very passive place and we can continue in Benko style playing on these two files, right? But on the other hand, white, objectively speaking, it's better to take on h6 instead and then play f4, as some of you were saying. So anyway, yeah, it's very interesting, Sarthak. The whole variation is very interesting. I'm just saying this is what white should have done. They could fight back in this way. I think we should continue, right? We can analyze this until, the end of this class, but I thought we could look at something else. So let's switch openings and let's have a look at one Italian example. That Italian is very topical nowadays. You can see in the tournament in Prague that they're playing the Italian quite a lot. So here we actually have one of the participants in Prague, Praganana with the black pieces. Rapport is playing with the white pieces. You can see it's one of those funny Italians where white castles long. That opening has definitely developed a lot ever since I was a kid, long time ago. Here you're playing with the white pieces. Try to step in the footsteps of Richard Rapport. Let's see if you can find how Rapport continue here in very pretty fashion. I'm sorry I only gave you 1 minute, but it's with a good intention that we will have more time for more examples. So, I told you pawns are not really connected today to the story. No, we give up pawns, but we actually don't move them in doing so. All those of you who want to play g4 here, that was last time's class, right? We can look at g4 if you like. I can see the point. You're playing in the style of the Benko gambit and so on. But I think there is one problem with your move g4. I think you're allowing me to maybe to go for the trade of light square bishops, no? Maybe. Anyway, is this the game that happened today? No, this is not. This was played, I think, last year, this game. So Sheng and RKDK and Gordon, Kind King Sound, Chess Crusher, Vish and Quoki, you are definitely on the right track. You found the whole idea. Maybe you thought about this with the Benko gambit and so on. Sorry. Okay, nobody found it 100%, but I'm ready to give a full point to the group of students who went all the way to rook eg1. So please go ahead, Sheng, you can tell us. The moment I play g4, coach said, no, but this is a more disciplined way of carrying out this idea. Rook h1 is what Rapport played after bishop takes. That's the way we give up the pawn. Pragananda, of course, notices that there is danger on the sky now. The king is feeling a little lonely now. The bishop has left the place. He took the pawn, not so much for the pawn, but simply because else you can see that these pawns are just rolling now. And they will actually roll in the game also. This will happen in the game also. So I understand in a 1 minute quiz, I will also play rook eg1 here and hope for the best. But I think there was a tactical problem that Rapport noticed in the game. Oh, rook eg1. Did you say that? Yeah. Exactly, Tori, you're right. Bishop takes f2. This is probably the problem here. Is that the problem? No, I have rook f1, right? It's queen takes f2, I think, is the problem here. No. Correct me if I'm missing something here. Rook takes g7. You're going to mate me now. Is that so? Wow. Yeah, now it got complex. I must play king f8, I guess. But you're hitting me on this side also. The Italian bishop woke up. So I think I did something completely wrong here, right? Let's go back a little. I think I looked at this also. Okay, I think king f8 was the right move here. Yeah, exactly. Flexible thinking, no? Flexibility. That's something we could talk about some other day. The queen stays on f3, which means that if you take, I no longer take on g7 or on f2, I take on h1 instead. Yeah, computers, they love these kind of moves, by the way. They're not so easy to find, but once you see them like king f8, you immediately understand them. So I think this was the problem, right? Or what do you think? Anyone? Yeah, you see, we keep the pressure here. So Rapport understood this in the game. Yeah, not surprisingly, he's one of the world's best players. So he didn't play rook eg1. The nice thing about this example is that he appreciated the long-term initiative here. He didn't get back the pawn. He didn't get the flashy attack with white. Anyone, what do you think white played here? Yeah, he didn't play d4 because then I think he's hanging e4, right? Exactly, Sozin and Brian, you're right. So this is also something I would say it's also a little connected to computer play. You must have noticed this. When the computer feels that it's better, it plays this kind of moves because it's saying you can't change history anyway. It's saying to the opponent, you can see what will happen here. They will play rook d1. I won't give away the whole story though. There is something else going on here also. But we start with this humble move, just defending the pawn on f2, and we're ready to play rook d1. And there is also another plan. All right, we have some comments here. d5. Yeah, if you play d5, I will play rook d1, I think. Okay, we're now in the tactical battle, so I should focus. You want to play bishop e8? Was that your idea? Right, Hollow Blade says bishop e8. So I think I'm going for the mate now. Rook takes g7, but I'm not Rapport, so this can end in complete disaster. Oh, you play rook king f8 here. Oh, interesting. Wow, what did I do now? I think I messed it up completely now. Bishop f4 is coming, and it's black who's winning. Yeah, we have to improve upon this, right? So we have to do, we actually live. Yeah, I don't live. I'm lost, I think. So rook h4 is proposed. Yeah, makes sense now that the bishop left the building. And we have this coming up next. Wow, I can't say this clearly. Yeah, I can't say this clearly. Interesting. Bishop e5 says Hollow Blade. May I take now, maybe, or is that too brave? I'm threatening mate in 1, right? I guess you have to run here. Oh, rook takes g7, king f8, then rook h4. Oh, that's another comment here. I see. Another comment from Connor is rook takes king here and then rook h4. Wow, good calculation, Connor. Congratulations. That's very clever. Aha, I cannot take anyway because we have queen takes. Yeah, that's probably what's... No, you can't... I thought about that too, Titan, but I saw rook takes. Oh, I see. You want to play like that. But I don't believe in this... Sorry, Titan. I don't believe in this. But maybe I should. Yeah, let's see. I'll play king c2. You take... Now I should just bring my queen to the battle, right? Or should I take? Is that possible? Just to take and continue the attack, letting my bishop in? Or rook takes f7 instead of... Yeah, you guys are smarter than me here. Rook takes f7. Wow, that's just amazing. Yeah, you should be coaching instead. Rook takes f7. That's extremely clever. Intermediate move. Now if king takes, rook takes. Yeah, this I understand. Aha. Yeah, and Rapport would have found this also. That's for sure. Yeah, the tactics are wild. And you see, something's going on here. Whenever you look at this kind of complex variations, try to generalize a little also. please notice white has so many pieces in the attack, and black has some pieces but not doing anything. So it's not that surprising that all this works. Back to business here again. Let's check from the very beginning. Some of you wanted to play g4, so I'm saying that I will take, since I saw the game, I know that this bishop is like a very annoying piece for black. I'm gonna play this next turn here, right? If you move the knight somewhere, I will probably play something like bishop e6. You can of course change lane with the bishop, but maybe I can, I don't know, break in the center or something. This is probably not so healthy for white to play this. Yeah, you can continue, you can try your luck. Again, you have the plan that he used later in the game, push the pawns. But I get the feeling that black can look for a way to frustrate this plan. Yeah, but although I don't really see it. No bishop c2, we go f4. Interesting. It will lead to something similar to the game. Yeah, I can give you half a point for that. What if I go then? I go bishop h3 first. I'm interested in playing d5. You remember that good old principle? They attack you on the flank and you respond in the center. Rook g1 and I go d5. Yeah, you can have the pawn. We're on the same topic again. I didn't even see this pawn is hanging. Yeah, let black trade. We play with the pawn rush. Yeah, sure. But I don't want the pawn. I want to open up the game and frustrate your attack. Having said that, this pawn was hanging also, right? I don't know if it was. I think I should not take it, no, because maybe you have something like rook f1 here, and it's. Yeah, I think that's a bad pawn to take. So I like my move d5. To be honest with you, the kind of move I think you should play here. d5. Queen takes e1. You're analyzing something else. Oh, I see, I see. So those of you who have a big tactical talent, you have already noticed this nice line. Yeah, very nice, very pretty. Unpinning the g-pawn. I see what you mean. So perhaps even that is working for black then. I agree, I agree. This looks like winning for black. Unless you can play you have some tactic of your own here, but I don't think so. Aha, I thought the bishop takes, but then you take with the queen, of course. So, okay, fair enough. This will also work. So that's another reason to not believe in g4. So rook h1 was played in the game. Let's have a look at what happened in the game, all right? Let's have a look again. Bishop takes, pawn takes. If you didn't take, by the way, anyone, what would you play with the white pieces here if black declines the pawn? Yeah, Mr. Jamal and Tori say knight h4. Aha, I think knight h4 is nice. It's a very nice move, and we get ready to push f4. Another interesting move here is rook h4, and you can bring the rook to f4. But yeah, I think I like your move more, knight h4. It looks very tempting to play like that. So anyway, back to business. Bishop takes f3, pawn takes. They got the pawn, and this was maybe the difficult move to see from the very beginning. But Rapport knows the potential of his position here. He has the g-file and so on. Pragaranda plays the best defensive move here, king f8, avoiding any captures on later on g7 and so on. Why not d4 move 1? All right, Mr. Jamal, we will go back to your move then. I looked at that also, I think. I looked at everything here. Don't worry, Jamal. I looked at this also. Bishop g6 is what I looked at. I think other students said this. That's why I started looking at this. If you play e5, you open up for my bishop. So you probably play bishop c2 instead. And I play something like rook e7 and I bring in the other rook. This is a much safer game for black than the game. But that bishop will die, says Mr. Jamal. Which bishop will die? This one is fairly healthy, I think, at this point. No? If e5. Yeah, this bishop you're saying, perhaps. Okay, that's more like an academical discussion. I don't think it dies. I think you're slightly better here, but I can still survive here, right? I guess I take once, and if you take back, I put my queen on e6. Maybe I win a tempo like that, and yeah, the bishop seems alive. You wanted to take with the knight, maybe. Okay, if you say the bishop dies, it's probably because you want to take with the knight, right? And I'll trade off, and yeah, do me a favor, remember this position, and then we will check the game. Yeah, hi, Greg. Nice to see you again. Xin not here, I think. I added someone else in. But not Xingqi. No, I'm sorry. But if this student appears, can you manually add? Yeah, but not right now. I will copy and paste then, and later manually add. Yeah, I have to go to the classroom controls or something like that. Yeah, I'll make a note here and I'll. But I need I think I need also the email to add it or something like that. Or yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I have not. I let everybody in today. Okay, I just entered the name. Or should I do that? Okay, give me a moment, Greg. I'll try to do this. I go to room access and I write the username that you're saying. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Chessable Classroom, that's a great place. Chess.com, don't forget, that's a fantastic place for playing. Chess.com. All right, adding Xingqi. All right, this should be done now. We are back in Rapport Pragananda. New person, exactly. Yeah, they are now on the list, so I hope it will work out well. Let's come back to our example, and this is what Mr. Jamal was commenting on this possibility. Or without bishop c2, Mr. Jamal said. Mr. Jamal wants to play e5. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Jamal. We can talk about this, but could I start with queen f5 maybe? Trading off the queens, I guess. Yeah. Aren't we going to have a thematic blitz tournament on chess.com? Yeah, exactly. We will have a thematic tournament. You're right, Sui. On what? Yeah, we will think about that. We will come up with some interesting theme that we can use for that thematic tournament. Maybe we should pick this position. What do you think? I hope I get the white pieces. No, I'm just joking. This ending should be slightly better. Yeah, we haven't even seen the game. We are drifting away a little. So let's come back to the game. Queen takes f3, rook h2. Please notice this kind of slow move because Rapport knows that he has a long-term advantage. Pragananda defends in the best possible way. He plays here king f8, I think, moving away the king in advance. That's a very useful defensive technique. Bishop d1. This is the star move which I really like. Anyone? Why did he play bishop d1? Why was bishop d1 played? Aha, to go f4. We are dislodging the queen simply. Maybe we could have played rook g1 also, but there was the move queen f6. And what does this mean? Yeah, that you cannot play f4 because you're now pinned. Now you're pinned on this diagonal, the g1 a7 angle. So that's why he played bishop d1. Queen f6, and the rest of the game is surprisingly easy. Please notice we're still a pawn down, 6 versus 7, but somehow the black's pieces, there is no action. The bishop it's a great bishop when they castle short, right? But it's not really that powerful when you castle long. Those of you who played Italian with white, maybe that's something to remember. I think it's the bishop g5 system where you get the king, when you castle long sometimes, when you play an early bishop g5. Anyway, back to the game. King e7. Anyone, would you like to tell me the next move here? Write me in the chat, white's next move. Some people play this at move 1. And not e4, not e5 then. You can probably play e5. Heuristic, you're right. I played here d4. I guess e5 was fine also, but it looks nicer if you're preparing it with d4, right? King d7, and now we play your move here. Those of you who said e5. Now we play it, because now we have flexibility, what we like, of course. We can take in both ways. Queen e7, rook g2. Anyone? Why did Rapport play rook g2? Aha, he wants to soften up black's pawn structure. Black played g6 to provoke g6 as Brian. Very clever, Brian. That's exactly what he did. He did not use this check. It would just help black's king to move away. Now we want to open up the game. Exactly. We play f5. This means that we can get access for our rook. Yeah, it's a really, really instructive game. G takes, yeah, Prague takes all the pawns. Rook g7, rook f8. Anyone? What did white play here? Most powerful continuation, of course, Tori, Sui, Chess Crusher, Racer, and so on. Of course, e6, king c7. The bishop was here. Suddenly, it finds a new destination. Guess where the bishop is going? Anyone? Aha, bishop h5. Very beautiful game. Bishop h5, queen f6. And he just took on f7. Yeah, we don't have to see the whole game. Let me just say that white was much better here. You can see rook e8 is coming also. Poor bishop on a7 was never invited to play in this game. White played very well this game, I must say. So it starts like this, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We will do a very quick recap. I'm just interested in the 3 first moves, but you get only 20 seconds to play like Richard Rapport. Okay, Ryan Hollow, Sarthak, 206, Connor, Can King Sam, Awesome Owen, Marcus, Mr. Chicky, yeah, Pekka, you all got it right. Congratulations. So this was a game played by Pragananda, and actually my next game is also by Pragananda. Yeah, but now he's on the brighter side of the board. You'll see. Okay, so let's just pick one student here. Ryan, you can tell us. Okay, Ryan, what should white play here? Just to make sure we're all on the same page. We give up a pawn, please. All those of you who are thinking in these terms, I cannot play rook h1 because I'm losing a pawn on f3. I have to protect that first. I have to play queen e2, for instance. Please don't do that. This will mean that your game is like more limited. No, it's not a tactical mistake or something, but it will slow down your game. Maybe I get a chance to play d5 or something like that. So yeah, follow in Ryan's footsteps here. Rook h1, and when I take on f3, we take back, and then key move here. We know that we have a good position in the long run, so we safely play rook h2. And most of us were expecting rook g1 to come, but actually Rapport had other plans. He continued here with the move bishop d1, and then he played f4. Great work. Those of you who said bishop d1, you were on the right track strategically, but tactically, you're giving me a chance to play queen takes f2, so you should probably not do that, although I admit that it's interesting to have 3 files to work on. One last observation here. Please notice how white has this kind of nice attacking panorama after rook h2, king f8. What happened next here? Bishop d1, right? I think. I just wanted to say one more thing before we leave this example. He played bishop d1 and then he played f4. So basically it's the Benko situation, right? With 2 open files. But in how many Benko variations? If we take the Benko, you see what I mean, right? The Benko gambit, this one, right? If you take the Benko gambit, something like that. In how many lines in the Benko does white castle long? That's my question. How often do you see white castle long? Well, not in many lines, right? Because black already has these 2 open files. Okay, they also have this Benko bishop on g7 later on. But I'm just saying it's natural to move the king to the other side. But okay, this game was a different game and so on. Anyway, we will continue. This is our next example. We have with the white pieces Akopian, and playing black is Pragananda. This is the position. It had occurred before. Those of you who are good with openings, you can easily see that this is some kind of Sicilian Sveshnikov perhaps, or some knight offline. I'm kindly asking you for black's best move, and you will have to make a few more moves here to show me that you have understood this. So, all right, I think that's enough. You get 1 minute for this mission. Oh, it's not the Sveshnikov. All right, yeah, you're probably right, heuristic. Yeah, it's probably some other Sicilian then. Yeah, I think it's, or maybe it's Ray Lopez. Yeah, I actually don't know. It could be many things now that you're saying that. Yeah. So, interesting move by Sheng and Moonjuggler Santos. Although I told you that we will not sacrifice the pawn by moving them in this class. We will let our opponent take those pawns, right? Interesting move by Sui and Marcus. I will castle away there, all right? I will castle away. Yeah, this was very difficult. Okay. Actually, nobody is on the right track. Well, apart from Pragananda, of course. Sojin Queen, you got it. Congratulations. Either you're a genius or you have seen this before, or simply you're having a very good day. But that's exactly what he did, yeah? We need some kind of strategical vision here to find Pragananda's choice here. So what Sojin Queen did here, they thought about how to improve one of our pieces. Imagine which is the piece that we would like to improve here. Not easy to understand at first sight. Not easy at all. I played a lot of Sicilians. I played a game in the Kalashnikov recently and used these ideas as Sojin Queen. Only one person got it right, so I cannot do a quiz here. What I would like everybody to understand is that, yeah, of course, we can play Queen a5 and hope that they will take on d6 and we take on c3. Or you want to play knight e4. But I would probably just castle here. There was a game like this, by the way. Ivanchuk had a game like this against Musicuk. Sorry, where he castled as soon as he could. I think she played Queen c7, and he didn't think about taking the pawn. He just castled away, and white was slightly better. So it's not as easy as that, this situation. d5 was proposed because I think you thought about this topic of giving up a pawn. But I don't know if it's a good business for you to give up a pawn like that. I'm very close to castling, so it's not like white is having a big lag in development or something like that. So I had not seen this before I solved it. Yeah, then congratulations, Sosin. That's really promising. So for everyone else who didn't solve it, I would like to ask you, which is the black piece which might need improvement right now? Which black piece has a better destination? The c6 knight says happy pawn. Exactly. So you would love to bring it to, let's say, to f3. Yeah, fantastic. But you can't technically bring it there, right? You would need access to one of these squares, and that doesn't look uh, very likely. I'm checking all the moves that you have said here. Somebody said rook b2. I understand. That's a very logical move, right? Attacking the pawn. I would then castle. Yeah, you know by now. And now it's my turn to play for the initiative. You have a slightly weak pawn on d6 and so on. Queen f6 was proposed by many people also. Queen f6. Yeah, all these moves I will answer with castles. You can play maybe queen f3. I don't know what this means for the valuation. Of course, my first move to look at is queen takes d6. I don't know how badly I'm doing here in this position. Uh, C5 might be good square, says Tori. Exactly. That's what Ananda was saying. Pragananda also noticed in the game. You're right, Gordon. Congratulations. That's what Pragananda and Sozin Queen noticed. So, okay, please go for it, Sozin. Now I think everybody knows a little more about what's going on here. Black played knight a5. Fantastic thinking by Pragananda. He says, I'll give away that pawn if that can help me to improve the position. Queen takes a6. You can play in other ways, right? I can castle also if I like. But most probably Black will just reply in the very same way. The knight is coming to c5 sooner or later, right? It's coming there sooner or later. White can try to stop this, of course, by playing something like rook d1. And maybe then you would have to do something else if you don't want to venture on this. I don't think you want to trade off these pawns. Maybe you could play something like queen c7 first, put the rook there, and ultimately we can come back to this. c5 is a super square for the knight. Those of you who are good with the Sicilian Sveshnikov, help me out, please, because I know when I was a kid, there was a variation where they did that. They would reroute the knight. I never got very good at Sveshnikov, but let's see if somebody can tell me about this. Somebody who is good with the Sveshnikov. I think it's the version that I'm thinking about. It starts like this: 95 takes, c3 castles, and white plays, I guess. Well, back in my days, they would play knight c2 here. I think it's around here, right? Or maybe you play bishop d5 first. And at some point, you will play knight b8, knight d7. Anyone knows about that knight maneuver or no? Oh, I see. I do. Sveshnikov Ganguly. Okay. c4. Yeah, it's a typical maneuver. All right. Sorry, it's me then. I don't know too much about this. I'm just saying that I remember this, I think, in Shirov's games. He would play knight b8 and then he would play knight d7. I thought that was very fancy to reroute the knight like that, something like that. Okay. Many things that happened in the theory of the Sveshnikov after that, but it's good to know, right, that the knight actually, when you have it on c6, it's not in a bad place, but it's kind of restricted by the knight, so you can bring it like this, right, towards green or pastures, or how you would say. And I think the same goes for, if you remember, we saw a long time ago some Petrosyan game where Petrosyan would do the same thing in a Pirtz structure. Yeah, how did he do that? Yeah, I don't really remember this, but I'll just show you like the basic point that he had a position like this maybe, and at some point the pieces were traded off. Like they got this pawn structure, something along these lines. Yeah, it's not a good example, but something like this, and Black played some move here, and he played knight b1, and he brought the knight to c4. It was not like this, don't get me wrong, but it was this picture that he would reroute the knight. So that's good to know. Anyway, Coach, what's your favorite Sicilian? Is it the Paulsen? Yeah, the Sicilian Khan, that's one of my favorites, but I like all the Sicilians. Yeah, they're all very interesting. Each one of them has its own, you could say, spirit, no? Even the more difficult ones like the Sveshnikov and so on, there are parts of them that I like really much about them. Anyway, back to Pragananda's game. Let's see if we can all understand this, and it's not like some kind of religion that you have to believe in this. You should really notice it on the board. Why is it so good? So we'll come back to the game now. Queen takes a6. Please go ahead, Sozin. You're still moving the pieces here. Knight b7. They castle in the game. And here we go. The knight belongs on c5, as we know by now. Queen c4. White protects the pawn. And I think you got the next move also, rook b2. So by now, what has happened here? Black activated their pieces and white won a pawn. Anyone who would like to speculate about the engine evaluation? What do you think, guys? What would the engine say about this? Actually, it's saying, I think it was saying white. I don't remember really, but I think it was saying like white was slightly better or something like that. It's not giving black a big advantage. It was like a long-term investment that Pragananda did here. He probably knew that. I'm not winning here, but I have a nice position. A4 was played in the game. That's Akopian's main trump here. Run with the passed pawn. And which piece should we improve now? Exactly. If white plays well, black shouldn't win. But I mean, you have to play like a computer, basically. Black's moves comes easier. Queen a8, of course, that's what Praganda played. Very nice move. Never bad to have a heavy piece on the a file where white's passed pawn is, and at the same time, we're hitting this pawn. If I protect the pawn, Sozin, what would you play? Yeah, you look at the drawbacks of your opponent's previous move, and you would play queen a7. Again, it's not like a big advantage, but it's slightly unpleasant to play white here. The king is not feeling so well anymore since we have moved so much on queenside pawns, right? So what happened in the game? He played rook ad1, very clever choice by Akopian. He said, all right, I need to somehow change the logic of the game. I will give up this pawn and I will take the pawn on e6. And Pragananda accepted this challenge. He took on e4, queen takes e6, king h8. White is still up a pawn here. Queen d5 was played, and you and me, we would of course say that, oh, whatever we do here, don't trade the queens because we're attacking and blah, blah, blah. However, he did actually trade the queen. So what about your move? I guess rook a1 there, right? Is that so? Who was playing? Sozin queen? Maybe. Yeah, knight c3 and queen. Yeah, this doesn't work for multiple reasons. So yeah, what did Prag do? He just took on d5. And he knew that somehow he still had compensation here. Rook takes d5. He took the pawn on f2. Actually, it's equal now. And he later on went on to win this endgame. These pawns are a little shaky. He played a nice king g8 move. If you look up this game, please notice the move king g8. I think I have this in my defense course. I think I added this example because I thought it was very pretty, the way he used the king move. But okay, I'm taking this too far. This example, I just wanted you to see the first part of the story here, that he played this beautiful move. I think we will do this, everyone, right? So that you can also be Pragananda for one short moment here. Let's see if we can get this right. Try to use all your pieces now. Use the rook and the queen also, like Sozin queen showed us. So here we go. You get 1 minute for this mission. No, less, I think you get 30 seconds. All right, just replicate what we just looked at. And I think I should start to look for my last example for today. Let me see which would be the best, the most suitable example. Let's see which one could be the next one. Yeah, I think I know which one we will look at. Yeah, I think so. But the next one is extremely complex, so beware that it's a tricky example. But I think it's still useful for us. So, okay. Sarthak, Titan, Chessort, Mr. Jamal, Ryan, Santos, Gordon, Dada, Apple, and 9 more. Aha, you all got it. Very nice. Knight a5. Please remember this for next turn. Don't forget, time is money here. If you protect this pawn, if you play something like a5, well, that hurts the whole plan, right? Now it becomes more complex to bring a knight to c5. If you protect, yeah, you can't protect it in a good way, right? Because you're also like, if you play queen b6, I guess at some point after white castles, they'll be about to play knight c4. So, yeah, I think it's better to just give up the pawn like Pragananda did by playing here knight a5. So, yeah, interesting idea. We just give up the pawn. It's a small price for all the activity that we reach here. So, okay, let's take our last example for today. This one is really painstaking. I warn you, everyone, this is a complex example. You can see some of you which opening this is probably some kind of Nimso, probably, right? Queen c2 Nimso, possibly. What has happened here in this game between Tabatavei and Injic is that white took on g3. They now have a semi-open h-file, which means that any attack will be boosted here by that rook on h1. We have opposite the castle kings. The b file is also open. Yeah, very tricky position for black. In this game, we will have a look first at what happened in the game. Injic played at this point the move d5. You would say it's a good idea because we strike in the center and so on. We make sure that we can move out the knight without dropping the pawn on d7. They play d5 in the game. However, the situation on the king side is a bit shaky. So what Tabatavei played here, he took on d5, and after bishop takes d5, anyone, what do you think white played here? This is a very beautiful game, so we can flip the board just for one moment. And you're right, Titan chess. Of course, he played e4. This is a tactically easily understood move because if f takes e4, Titan, What's coming next here? We don't take back, of course. We go for our attack instead. Aha, there is a key move here that's waiting to be played, and that's knight c4. This is just nightmare for black. No, complete nightmare when the knight arrives at h6 with discovered attacks and all that. So e4 was a very smart move by white. You can also see that had they taken with the pawn, he were actually playing the same way. A very pretty move e4, because if they take like that, they open up the g4 square. And if they take like this, anyone, what would white play? Of course, Titan. Yeah, you're faster here. Bishop c4, and we can already stop looking at this. It's too much attack for white already. The king is very unsafe. Let's say I play king h7 and queen d6 has heuristic mind. Yeah, I think so. Queen d6 is coming. Those of you with big tactical talent, you will say that very soon we will go rook takes and rook h1 and so on. Oh, you want to play that instantly? Oh, maybe you can. I didn't say that. You can probably do that also. You want to take and play rook h1. Yeah, looks good to me. Looks good to me because black's position is not, they are not fully developed and the king is very weak and so on. So, okay, I agree. Complex case for black. They took with the Injits took with the bishop in the game. We know the move already: e4, bishop b3. Do you think he moved the rook or did he do something else? Anyone? To expose the black king. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Of course, Titan. They played e takes f5. If bishop takes d1, I should connect Titan here. You're saying all the moves. You can play them out, Titan. All right. You have the moves now. Titan doesn't care about this bishop. All that counts here is to go for an attack. Something like that. Bishop c4 and knight c4 is coming with a deadly attack. Aha, you're right. In the game, they took like that. They played e takes f5. You played this small move here, queen e3. This means that the rook can join the battle. And black has difficulties again. If we take the rook this time, Titan, what would you play now? You know, you're right, Titan. You know the whole story here. We need knight c6. You're right. Yeah, bishop c6, bishop c4 check maybe with a very strong attack. Exactly. Queen e6 is also tempting because this means that after king h7, this is actually a very pretty variation. I should quiz you for this instead. All right. You got the first move now. You got the first move, everybody. So I gave you some help, right? I gave you some help. And you can find the rest on your own. So you will play like the Iranian grandmaster here at this moment. You get only 40 seconds though. Okay? This is not about our topic. This is about attacking chess or whatever you would say. Charles, Sarthak, Brian, you are the winner so far. Congratulations. If you play bishop c4 first, it's okay, half a point then. But the bishop has other intentions. Xalicia, chess art, you're right. That's exactly what we should play here. But all right, if you play bishop c4, it's not a crime, no? It's probably very promising position also. Just that there was something better. Okay. But we have to move on so that we can see black's approach also. Yeah, that's what our topic is about today. Please go ahead, Brian. You can tell us what should white play here. Brian did not give the check on c4. He gave the check on e6. And the reason was that when black plays king h7, there was a nasty sacrifice coming up next here. Beautiful cooperation between the white pieces. You can see rook takes h6 is coming, and after pawn takes, it's complete demolition here. Black has loads of extra material, but they're not in conditions to save their king, right? So yeah, thanks, Sathak. Okay, see you next week then. Bye bye. Aha, we're just cashing in here with rook takes h6. Exactly. Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So that's what could have happened in the game. In the game, Injits played instead bishop a2 to keep the bishop on this diagonal for obvious reasons. But the attack was too strong. The point of queen e3, we said, was to clear the d file. So anyone, what did white play here? Very quickly, how do you boost the white attack now? Exactly, Santos. Rook d6, we're going to take this pawn probably with that. Well, I'm not sure actually. You can take with both rooks probably. Knight e7, rook d takes h6, and white soon went on to win. All right, this happened in the game. White got a strong attack for no big effort really or big price, so on. But black had a better way to cope with this. So now that you know what happened in the game, they played d5, they invited white to take, and then white quickly stroke here with e4, and they had always this nasty move, knight e4, coming out next. Now that you know what it's about, I think you can guess at least the first 2 or 3 moves here. All right, we will ask you for the 2 or 3 moves. You get 1 minute. And somebody said here that one black piece was missing in the game. Okay, somebody was missing to create counterplay and activity and all that. Who might be missing here? All right, you get half a point for that, Mr. Chicky, Sheng, Vision, HDI, and Alg. It's perfectly possible. What if you keep the queens instead? Did you think about that? But I like your approach in any case. I like the approach of playing rook f7. So half a point. So random, we have a winner. Congratulations. That's exactly what the grandmaster should have played here. 94, I like it. The only thing I don't like is that you trade off the queens. I can maybe take and play e3, kick the knight. That goes for Charles, Titan, Gordon, Santos, Moonjuggler, and Jamal. That's what I would play. Racer and Young and Brian. If you can avoid the trade of queens, it's relatively better, right? It's not so bad. It's better than the game. But there is something even better. Okay, we have only one winner here. Our only winner is Sui. Okay, Sui, thanks for saving me here. Please go ahead and let everybody know how black should have played here. Knight c6, we give up the pawn. That's a small price for developing that knight. But the next move is kind of important. Aha, we can play queen f6. That's clever, right? Because if I take on b7, I get mated or I lose my queen after Sui's next move here. As simple as that. As simple as that. Of course, your other moves that you were telling me here, some people wanted to just take on d7. I presume you were going to, but don't forget this pawn is hanging sometimes. So this is actually not advisable for you. Others wanted to play rook f7. I guess I can actually take this pawn, and even I would take this third pawn on h6. Yeah, I don't think I get killed here. So queen e5 hangs h6. Yeah, queen e5 hangs h6. We always have this. It's like a thorn in my side. This pawn is always hanging. It's really annoying. So I think he did not play knight c6 because he didn't like simply queen takes d7. And he could find a way to play the endgame and so on. But the best choice here, what about just queen takes b7? In which variation? I don't follow Hollow. In which variation you mean? Queen a5. Yeah, it's not making sense, right? Queen a5. I would take on h6 instead. I'm threatening mate e1 or what? Rook f7, queen takes e6. But okay, that's my... I didn't even say the knight was... No, it's not hanging, right? So, yeah, not relevant variation. So, let's come back to real life here. Yeah. Queen f6, that's the right move. Now the pressure is suddenly on white. And you can see one nice thing here is that if they play something like e4, this is no longer advisable, right, for white. What would you play here, Sui? What would be your move here at this point? For instance, I think you have several choices, but which move do you like the most? 94 says RKDK. I like that move too. Yeah, you didn't even check what happens if queen takes. But I guess there are mating pictures coming up. Just for everybody to understand this, if I take another pawn, I got mated, right? Aha, Sui basically mated me here. I would have to play something like king d2, but it's looking really ugly for me. I think I got mated there in very few moves. Right, Sui? You're mating me, no? Ah, with a rook. Yeah, very technical. Yeah, I didn't even see. I thought only with queen, but I can see your points here. Aha, mating me here. So, nice. That shows something about black's potential here. I'll tell you quickly the critical line. I'll tell you the critical line here. After queen f6, very clever move. White will have to do something about their king. Knight e3 is what the computer wants to play here. It's perfectly understandable, protecting this pawn. But this also means that they can say goodbye to the plan of knight c4. It's a relief for black. I think there are multiple choices here. But one of the nicest variations here was, anyone. Yeah, who would like to play black side here? Anyone? Sozin queen. But Sozin was around so much today, so I was thinking maybe some other student would like to play black's moves here. Black's moves. Anyone else? Blunder the knight. Yeah, rook d8. Interesting. Yeah, I can maybe take, right? I'm not sure if you're mating me here. Also, there is sometimes this intermediate move, but okay, we won't play it now. I have to save my skin here somehow. Queen takes, rook takes d3. Yeah, what happens next here? Maybe I got fooled here, right? I can't save my king, can I? Or can I take? Sorry, guys, I can't really see the tactics here. You're faster. I'm hoping I can, like, move away in this way. Or that's not going to happen. No, I actually don't know, Sui. I have no idea if this works or it doesn't, but seems like I'm surviving, no? White wins, says Santos. All right, I think white survives, says Gordon. Yeah, let's presume that. Okay, interesting. So in any case, you were right, Sozin. Sozin said here the move. What was the move? Rook b8, right? Rook b8, bringing the rook to the battle. Aha. And yeah, we are probably just going to play something like rook d8 next turn or something, or rook f7, now that it's protected, this bishop, I mean. So knight takes e5, that's what the computer wanted to play. Yeah, that's the typical approach of the computer. Just take everything. Bishop c8, queen d2. He's trying to defend. Who is playing now, by the way? It's Sui still playing. All right, Sui, go for it. Aha, the next move is not difficult. The last friend to the party, go for it, Sui. Rook d8, exactly. So the interesting thing is that it looks like already black is almost winning, but it's not true, because bring all your friends to the party, exactly. Queen c3, that's what white can play here. And I thought it was interesting. Right now, black is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 pawns down, right? And even so, they will trade off the queens. Interesting. Because black still had some issues with king safety and so on. So we trade off the queens. We leave them with a bad pawn structure, which is, by the way, typical in the Nimzo. And here, what do you think, Sui? Before you play your next move. Yeah, that's what I said before. So look at this, everyone. Rook b1, obvious move, right? Obvious move. But we can also keep it in the pocket, all right? We can keep it in the pocket. That's what you would call flexibility thinking. We can play that move at some later stage when it's more useful for us. If you play it now, I will play, g4, very interesting also, yeah. If you play rook b1, I'll play king c2. And yeah, you could play something like rook e1, but I don't know, maybe I can start harassing your rook also, right? I don't know. Can I play like knight e3 or something, or king b2? And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But you could also keep it in the pocket. So let's say we want to keep this move in the pocket. What will you play instead? Anyone? Knight e5, says Gordon. Exactly. If you start with knight e5, that's much smarter. We're going to get back this pawn. We also have some plans like, let's say, rook b6 and rook c6. And the last question here for Gordon. What happens then, Gordon, if I play bishop takes c4? Sorry, if I play e4, what would you play in that case? We still, exactly, smart thinking. We still keep it in the pocket. You see what I mean? If you play rook b1 here, if you're really, really rushed to play rook b1, I will play king c2, and it's not clear where the rook is going after that. Maybe I can continue to harass the rook or something like that. I can use the knight for that purpose also. But if you're playing the other way, it's much smarter because you keep it in the pocket. Knight takes c4. I have this if they take, right? And else I can use my knight for something else. So basically, that's the answer to this last very difficult example. I thought it was interesting for white and for black. In the game, they played d5 and they ran into big troubles because white started a very powerful attack on the light squares. However, if black were ready to give up a pawn, they could have played here instead. Yeah, you know it, of course. That's the last quiz for today. I will just quiz you for the last 3 moves here, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So you get 20 seconds just to show your good memory and positional understanding. Aha, everybody got this right. I don't have a single wrong answer. Great, you're paying attention. Aha, that's very nice. So please remember that, everyone. Sometimes it can be worth a pawn to bring out your pieces. You're attacking, you're defending, or it's like an equal battle. We have seen all those situations here. But don't be too, what can I say, too defensive in that sense that I have to protect this pawn before I go knight c6, or I have to play d5. A better choice here is what Marcus said. All right, Marcus, you will have the last word today. What should black play here? Go for it. The kind of move that we would like to play, there seems to be a small problem with that move, that we lose a pawn. Aha, I was giving you the pawn, Marcus. Exactly. We let them take the pawn. We keep the queens because we have seen that if they take on b7, then we can play rook b8. The last question, actually, what would you play with white here? If it's white to move, anyone, what would be white's best move? Now we're talking defensive thinking. Of course, Hollow and Owl, you notice this, yeah? You have to play rook takes h6. And actually the battle goes on here. It's still interesting to look at this endgame. But we can agree, I think, that it's a good outcome for black. If you get white has some chances here, bring the knight to take the pawn and so on. But black should still be okay in this endgame. So ultimately, what we're saying here is that don't be too afraid to give up a pawn on some occasions. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks to Chessable Classroom. Thanks to Chess Dojo. Thanks to USCS, Greg Shahadi. Thanks to chess.com. Don't forget we have that thematic tournament in a few weeks from here. Thanks to everyone who showed up today. and see you next week. Thanks. Bye bye.